Good day, everyone. I am Wendell Abarquez of CTU Barili Campus, taking up Bachelor of Secondary Education major in English. And for today's video, we will be discussing about the basic sentence structures in English. So we will know also how it is really important to know or to distinguish each type of these sentence structures. So let's get to it. So, to formally start our discussion for today, let us first define what is a sentence structure. So, a sentence structure is the physical nature of a sentence and how the elements of that sentence are presented or arranged. So, just like word choice, it is very important, or a writer must vary their sentence structure to create a rhythmic prose and to keep their readers interested. Therefore, basic sentence structures in English, and each one of these sentence structure has its own unique form and how it was done. It is very important to distinguish each type of sentence structure for us to create a more interesting and creative sentences or paragraphs. So these are the four basic sentence structure in English. First, we have simple sentences, the compound sentences, the complex sentences, and the compound complex sentences. So now, let us get to know our first type of sentence structure, the simple sentence. So what is a simple sentence? So a simple sentence contains a subject and a verb, and it may also have an object or modifiers. So this sentence structure is the most basic structure among others. So it is usually taught during elementary years. However, this sentence structure only contains one independent clause, and there is no dependent clause. So to let you understand more what is a simple sentence, let's take these two examples. So first we have we went to San Juan. So we here is a pronoun and it plays as our subject of the sentence. Went is our verb, and to San Juan is our prepositional phrase. Went to San Juan is our complete predicate. This sentence is composed of a subject and a complete predicate, and it has only one independent clause. Thus, the sentence is a simple sentence. Next example, the teacher writes on the board. So the teacher here is a noun and it is our subject of the sentence. Writes is the verb, and on the board is our prepositional phrase. So writes on the board is our complete predicate. So the sentence is composed of a subject and a complete predicate, and it has only one independent clause. Thus, the sentence is also a simple sentence. So now let us move on with our second type of sentence structure. And this sentence structure is what we call as compound sentences. So unlike simple sentences, compound sentences are composed of at least two independent clauses or two sentences. And these two independent clauses or two sentences can be combined with the use of a comma, a coordinating conjunction, or a semicolon. For example, my parents caught a severe cold. Consequently, they had to cancel their vacation. So this sentence is an example of a compound sentence because it is composed of two independent clauses or two sentences. The first independent clause here is my parents caught a severe cold, while the other independent clause is they had to cancel their vacation. So it is very clear that this sentence is a compound sentence in structure. Next example we have, Sheila writes a summary of her lessons while Brian is playing Mobile Legends. So this sentence is also a compound sentence because it is composed of two sentences or independent clauses. The first independent clause here is Sheila writes a summary of her lessons, while the second independent clause is that Brian is playing Mobile Legends. Next, we have our third type of sentence structure, the complex sentence. So complex sentence or complex sentences contain at least one independent clause and at least one dependent clause. Dependent clauses can refer to the subject like who or which, or the sequence or time like since or when, or the casual elements like because or if of the independent clause. So those words that I have mentioned earlier like who, which, since, when, because, and if, those are words that you can use as your clues to find or to look for the dependent clause of the sentence. Let's take these examples. So, when the cake is brown, remove it from the oven. So this sentence is an example of a complex sentence. Why? Because this sentence contains one independent clause and one dependent clause. So where are these clauses found in that particular sentence? So here, the independent clause is the sentence remove it from the oven. So it is very clear that it can stand as one sentence. And the dependent clause in this complex sentence is when the cake is brown. So it cannot stand on its own. So the next example we have, although Rose is healthy, she was still sick. So in this sentence, our dependent clause is although Rose is healthy. So it cannot stand on its own. So our independent clause here is she was still sick, and it has a complete thought. It is an independent clause. It can stand on its own. Now we are down with our last type of sentence structure, the compound complex sentences. So sentences or sentence types can also be combined. So this type of sentence structure contains at least two independent clauses and at least one dependent clause. So compound complex sentences is somewhat a combination of the first three sentence structures. So for instance, we have, while Tom reads novels, Jack reads comics, but Sam reads only magazines. So this sentence is an example of a compound complex sentence because it is composed of one dependent clause and two independent clauses. So our dependent clause here is while Tom reads novels, while our independent clauses here are Jack reads comics and Sam reads only magazines. Let's take this another example. Tom reads novels, but Jack reads comics because books are too difficult. So this example is still a compound complex sentence because it is still composed of two independent clauses and one dependent clause. So our independent clauses here are Tom reads novels and Jack reads comics, while our dependent clause here is because books are too difficult. So to end this, let's have first a short summarization of what we have tackled today. So again, there are four basic sentence structure in English. So these are simple sentences, compound sentences, complex sentences, and compound complex sentences. And remember also that sentence structure is the physical nature of sentences, and it is very important for us to create a more creative and interesting sentences in our paragraphs. So that's it for today. Thank you for listening, and God bless.